Number 1 is a right triangle. Here's theta. So if it's a right triangle, we're thinking SOHCAHTOA. This is the angle we want. 3 is on the opposite side, and 4 is the adjacent side. Okay, that one's the hypotenuse because it's across from the right triangle. If I've got opposite and adjacent, that's a tangent problem. So it's tangent of the angle equals the opposite over the adjacent. If I want to get theta by itself, what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of tangent, so I'm doing inverse tangent on both sides. So in my calculator, I'm going second tangent of 3 over 4. Type it in, hit enter. There's my answer, 36.9. A lot of you did law, cosines, and things like that. That's way easier. Questions on the first one? Number 4, you have 2 observers on the ground and an airplane between them. Okay, the 2 people are 10 miles apart. There's a 25-degree angle on one of them, and the other one is 40. So we have something like this. When we set up this problem, our ultimate job is to solve for the height, is to solve for x. In order to find x here, that's a right angle. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to solve for this side over here. To solve for that side, we're going to look at the bigger triangle first. Okay, this is what I'm doing first. What do I need to do first in order to solve that thing? The other angle. So 25 and 40 is 65. So my other angle is 115. Now that I've found 115, what method am I going to use to solve that thing? Sines. I've got a pair. It is sine of 115 over 10 equals sine of 25 over y. Oh, say what? Are we good? I called it y already. We're solving this thing, so I'm doing cross multiplying. I'm taking 10 times sine of 25. Type it in. I'm going to divide that by the other one. So I'm going to divide that by sine of 115 divided by sine 115. I hit enter. I get y is 4.66. So this side right here is 4.66. That's the side I'm looking for, x. This angle right here we know is 40 degrees from our picture from before. That's a right triangle, so what am I going to do to solve a right triangle? SOHCAHTOA. From 40's perspective, x over here is the opposite, and y is going to be the hypotenuse. SOHCAHTOA, which one goes OH? That is sine of 40 equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. To get x by itself, I'm going to multiply by 4.66. So 4.66 times sine of 40. Type it in, hit enter. When I round it, 2.995, so the answer is 3. The plane is 3 miles off the ground. It was 2.995, so I rounded to the second decimal. I'm not going to count it wrong if we round incorrectly, but it should be 3. Questions on number 4? Let's go to number 7. On the back side, number 7, I've got B, I've got C, I've got alpha. If I'm drawing this, I'm going to call this alpha. So this is A. I'll call this one beta. So this is B, and that makes this one C. B is 13, C is 17. Which, is it a right triangle? So not SOHCAHTOA. Do I have a pair? No. So that makes it a law of cosines. I know this corner. I know those 3 things. I'm going to solve for A, and that's what I was looking for anyways. So I'm setting up a law of cosines problem. It looks like this. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2 times 13 times 17 times cosine of 126. I take that whole thing and I type it into my calculator just straight up like that, and I get A squared equals 717 with some decimals after it. Is that my answer? What do I still need to do with that thing? Square root. A should have been 26.79. Questions on the first 3? Number 3 says a tree casts a 20-foot long shadow. So I'm going to draw a tree. It casts a 20-foot long shadow. So there's my shadow. If the angle of elevation, so obviously I'm going to draw a third line here to make my triangle from here to there. if the angle of elevation from the end of the shadow to the top of the tree is 65 degrees, how tall is the tree? So ultimately, I'm searching for the height of the tree. This is my x. That's what I'm looking for. What else do I know if I'm talking about height? It's a right angle problem. It's a right triangle. The angle of elevation is 65. So if the angle of elevation is 65, where does that go? Up here in the tree or down on the ground? On the ground, because it's 65 degrees going up. It's a right triangle. So if it's a right triangle, the easiest way to solve that's going to be SOHCAHTOA. Okay? This is my angle, 65 degrees. How is x related to 65? Opposite. And I didn't label the 20-foot long shadow. This is 20 feet. How is 20 related to the 65? It's the adjacent. I'm doing a trig function with opposite and adjacent. It's tangent. Tangent of 65 equals the opposite over the adjacent. To get x by itself, what do I need to get rid of? 20. To get rid of that 20, I'm going to multiply both sides by 20. So in my calculator, I'm going to take 20. Not that one. Nope. There she is. 20 times tangent of 65. Type it in, hit enter. 42.8 or 42.9 degrees. 42.89. Sorry, it's a length. 42.89 feet tall. That's the height of my tree. Did you get 42.89? Yep, you can get it. You can do law signs. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm going to tell you SOHCAHTOA is the fastest always. Sometimes there's an extra step, but yeah. Check to see if there's a second triangle. I'm going to tell you if there's a second triangle, or I'm going to tell you to look for a second triangle. If it's that type of problem, I don't like drawing a triangle because it throws me off. So instead, I can just look at this and know that I have a power couple. So I'm doing sine of 29 over 11 equals sine of alpha over 20. I'm going to solve that thing. So if I solve it, I cross multiply these two times those two. So in my calculator, I'm going to take 20 times sine of 29. 20 times sine of 29. What else do I need to get rid of on the alpha side? 11. So I'm going to divide by 11. What else do I need to get rid of on the alpha side? Sine. So to get rid of the sine, I'm going second sine of that angle. Type it in, hit enter. I get 61.8 degrees. Once I find alpha, what's the next easiest thing to find? How many angles do I have now? I have two angles. So if I have two angles, I'm going to subtract from 180 to find the other one. So 180 minus 61.8 minus 29. That'll tell me the third angle, 89.2. To find C, which is the third side, I'm just doing law of sines again. Sine of 29 over 11 now equals sine of 89.2 over C. We're just doing law of sines. 11 times sine of 89.2 divided by sine of 29. 22.69. Questions on how I found the first triangle? Yes, sir. That's the way you got to do it. Okay, then you, okay. Did you do law of sines with another power couple? Yeah, as long as you got the right answers, that should work. I'm going to always do the original power couple because I know that I didn't screw that up.
So what did you do with the alpha? How come you didn't say we should check the music?
I am going to check. I'm not done. Once I found alpha at 61.8 degrees, I'm going to take that and check for the second angle. To do that, we find the supplementary angle. Supplementary means we want to take that one angle and subtract from 180. So 180 minus 61.8. So 180 minus 61.8. That tells me what alpha could also be, which is 118.2. And then you're just basically doing the problem again. I've got two angles. I'm going to subtract from 180 to find the third one. So 118.2 minus 29. There's my third angle, 32.8. And then we would just do law of sines again. 180 minus the first angle that you found. So I found alpha first, so it's 180 minus that. Then I would just do law of sines again with this power couple, and sine of 32.8 over c. I should have gotten 12.29. Questions there? We would have gotten a negative right here. So when we subtracted to find this angle, when we took 180 minus this one and minus that one, we would have gotten like negative 50. If we got a negative answer, there wouldn't be a second triangle. Let's look at number 9, it's the last one here. There's my setup. I'm looking for alpha. What did they, it's not SOHCAHTOA. What did they tell me initially? 3 sides. So if it's 3 sides, I'm doing side, 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 cosine of alpha. So cosine of alpha equals a squared. Which one of these sides is going to be a? 21, because it's across from alpha. So 21 squared minus 11 squared minus 20 squared all over negative 2 times 11 and 20. When I type that into my calculator, I'm typing it in as a fraction because that's the easiest way to do it. Alpha, y equals n over d. 21 squared minus 11 squared minus 20 squared. On bottom, it's negative 2 times 11 times 20. I hit enter. Oh, I typed that in wrong. Sorry. I forgot an 11 on the bottom. Go back in there. Sorry, you get that? 2 over 11. That's not my answer. What do I still need to do with that? That's what cosine of alpha is. So what do I need to do to get alpha? Inverse of cosine. Second cosine, second answer, enter. 79.5 degrees is what I was actually looking for. Questions on one of those 6? Obviously, we didn't get through the whole thing. Okay, I'm just going to stop there. I'm not going to make you do it as homework.